and welcome to the Cult Cinema Circle podcast. My name is Jesse, and I'll be your host. So today we're going to go over what I watched in the month of December. So you're hearing this now on January 1st, so hopefully you had a nice, New Year's Eve, you're having a nice New Year's, all that good stuff. 2024, I'm sure will be a ride, just like how all these other years have been. But overall, with what I've watched in this month, it's been kind of all over the place. I took some time where I wasn't really watching a ton of movies because I was just tired. But that's what the holidays do to you, and like the season, if anything. But without further ado, we're just going to move into what I watched. So I will say, first thing I watched in the month was a little movie from 2002, which is called Spun. So this is a movie that is on Peacock right now, but it's also on Tubi, and I would just recommend watching the Tubi version because this movie is wild as hell. But the Tubi version is actually unrated and uncensored, as opposed to the Peacock one, which is like a little edited. But pretty much what Spun is, it is over the course of 3 days, Ross, a college dropout who's played by Jason Schwartzman, he's addicted to crystal meth, and he encounters a variety of oddball folks, including a stripper named Nikki and her boyfriend, the local meth producer, the cook, but all he really wants to do is hook up with his old girlfriend Amy. This is in my review of this, I said, I think I like this movie more than Requiem for a Dream. It's no Train Spotting, though, but I think I'd watch it again. This movie is so fucking weird. It's very frenetic. It's directed by Jonas Åkerlund. He is a music video director, and he did like Lords of Chaos and a couple different things. But he, like I said, is mostly a music video director. It shows in this movie. But yeah, it's Jason Schwartzman, Brittany Murphy, Mickey Rourke is Brittany Murphy's like boyfriend or whatever. John Leguizamo, Mina Suvari, everybody's. So many people are in this movie. Patrick Fugit, Eric Roberts is in here. It's fucking crazy. Oh, also, fun little thing. I feel like I'm catching up on a lot of Charlotte Ayana's like filmography. For those who don't know, that's Liz Purr from Jawbreaker. But I've watched like this movie now because she's Amy, the ex-girlfriend of Ross. But she was in like Trojan War, which I watched before with Will Friedle. She's obviously in Jawbreaker. So I'm like slowly working through her filmography, I think. Like literally kind of just watch things that she was in. Because she's also in like The Rage Carrie 2 and like a couple of different little things. So I just thought it was funny. I didn't realize that until, halfway through. But yeah, this movie's fucking crazy, dude. It's like, I don't know. I kind of liked it, honestly. Like I said, I think my favorite one of these movies is Train Spotting. I got my eye on that Criterion Blu-ray, but I think I'm going to wait for it a little bit. But Spun is an interesting time. It's it definitely gives you those vibes of those movies, but I didn't mind it. It was fine. So yeah, that's how I started my month off. The next film I watched for that was Christmas Evil from 1980. So this movie, it's on Shudder. I think you can find it other ways too. But so pretty much a toy factory worker who's mentally scarred as a child upon learning that Santa isn't real, suffers a nervous breakdown after being belittled at work and embarks on a Yuletide killing spree. So this is, like I said, 1980 film. It's really more of a kind of character study of this gentleman played by Brandon Maggart, who, if those who don't know, that's actually Fiona Apple's dad. But yeah, it's an interesting film. It's, like I said, more of a character study of this guy as opposed to like this, slash 'em, hack 'em film, But I thought it was interesting for sure. And so I was like, all right, cool. Again, I didn't like hate it or anything. I didn't think it was super terrible, but I was kind of in the middle for it. But yeah, it's definitely a holiday horror and it's something a little different. You're not going to get like Silent Night, Deadly Night with it, but I definitely think it's an interesting movie that I think if you're into it, just check out for sure. But yeah, that's what I did. Continuing with the Continuing with the holiday horror, I decided to finally watch Krampus from 2015, which was on Peacock when I watched it. It's also in 4K on there, so that's nice. Yeah, and so this movie, if you don't know, it was directed by Mike Dougherty, same guy who did Trick or Treat, and he also did Godzilla movie of some sort, but whatever. But yeah, so this is a horror comedy which is based on the ancient legend about a pagan creature who punishes children on Christmas. It has Toni Collette in it, Conchetta Ferrell, also Adam Scott, a couple different people. So it's a fun one. Toni Collette in this movie warrants at least a three star rating, I think. This movie has kind of its supporters and maybe its haters or whatever. But overall, I did like it. I gave it a 3. It's not a bad movie by any means. I wasn't overwhelmed or underwhelmed by it, but could you just ever be whelmed? But I think it was a fun thing for what it is. It does feel like a little bit of a spiritual sequel to something like Trick or Treat, but yeah, I thought it was fine for what it was, and of course, just having Toni Collette there is awesome. So I have to stan, obviously. Anyway. Then the next day, I watched a movie from 1985. I think it was on Prime or something like that. And it's Better Off Dead with John Cusack. This movie is about I'll explain it. So, high school student Lane Meyer, played by Mr. Cusack, sinks into a suicidal depression when his girlfriend dumps him for jock Royce Stalin, the high school ski racing champion. Meanwhile, he has to deal with his eccentric family, a tenacious paperboy, and an obnoxious neighbor whose mother is hosting a beautiful French exchange student named Monique. So yeah, this is an interesting watch. I ended up really liking it. I gave it a 4. So this movie is all over the place and crazy. It is like kind of a living comic book in a way. Like it's like a living cartoon in a way. Because the movie's so fucking weird. But that's what I kind of liked about it, though. It's John Cusack. Dan Schneider, but he does play the Ricky. He plays the neighbor guy. Diane Franklin from Bill and Ted, the only first Bill and Ted, playing one of the princesses. She's also in The Last American Virgin. All sorts of things she's been in, but she plays Monique with her little French accent she puts on. Yeah, I mean, all sorts of Curtis Armstrong, who's like a character actor, Amanda Wyss from this was right after Nightmare on Elm Street had released. So yeah, it's kind of all over, like I said, but I said that I have to respect it, though. It's unlike a few movies I've seen, and it feels a bit different for the regular teen fare that was coming out at the time. We'll get to that in a minute. Also, the song that E.G. Daily sings at this dance is a certified bop. E.G. Daily is also in this movie, the voice of Tommy Pickles. She's a singer. She plays herself, but she's singing at the dance that they're at, and I think it's called One Way Love. It's such a bop, dude. She actually re-released some songs she's done, and you can find them on Apple Music. But I thought it was great. I love that little music song. That's what they're called, songs. Also, how could I not stand a movie that has a sentient hamburger Grish shedding on a guitar? If you know, you know, but you should fucking check it out. Go ahead. Yeah, Better Off Dead. I feel like I probably would own it. And what's interesting to me is that I thought, for whatever reason, I was like, anything I knew about this movie before, I was like, oh, well, like, wait, he's like, he got broke up with, so now he like wants to kill himself, and like, how do you make that funny? Like, is it supposed to be? But it's interesting because like this movie, not like Heathers, obviously, because Heathers is very much like a very dark satire kind of a thing, and I love Heathers, obviously, but there's that. But Better Off Dead is a lot more wacky, but it's not actually like the whole suicide, unaliving yourself thing isn't really a part of the movie, and it's not. I mean, one could argue if it's played for laughs, but I don't even really think it's that central the part of the story where I feel like it's like super distasteful. You could disagree with me if you want, but I think it's a lot more about just like how is Lane supposed to go on or whatever, but a lot more of it is just it doesn't focus on that to where it's being distasteful personally, what I think. But anyway, but yeah, Better Off Dead. I thought it was way better than it ever needed to be, and it's the same guy who it's Savage Steve Holland. He's the guy who actually created the whammy from Press Your Luck, but also he's like done some stuff with Butch Hartman. Ugh. But he's done some stuff with him, you know, and yeah, he seems like a interesting dude, if anything. Then the next movie I watched, which was in preparation for the podcast I did on it, was Santa Jaws from 2018. This is a sci-fi original movie that was directed by Misty Talley, part of her kind of shark, oeuvre, if she will. Santa Jaws, it's about fucking Santa Jaws. This guy Cody, he makes a wish to bring Santa Jaws to life, I guess, or whatever. Go listen to my episode on it. But yeah, Santa Jaws, fucking wonderful movie. I gave it a 3.5 and a star. Again, if you want to go listen to the episode I did on it, I would watch it. You know, it's a bad movie. It's like a bad shark movie, but fucking why the hell not? It's a fun time, and is it the worst shark movie out there? I've watched a couple of those Sharknado movies, and God, dear almighty. But this one was at least like not as painful, let's just say. So yeah, Santa Jaws, that's what I did. And of course, 'tis the season, right? Then I watched a little documentary, okay? This is on Max. It's very much in the know, but it's called Love Has Won, The Cult of Mother God. So this is a movie, it's a documentary series. It's 3 episodes with an hour each, so you can get it done real quickly. I did it all in a morning on a weekend. So this chronicles the life and the death of Amy Carlson, also known as Mother God, a self-proclaimed spiritual savior that built a cult through her online manifestos and live streaming sessions. As her health declined, her followers believed her death would soon lead to her evacuation by UFO and salvation for humanity. Told through the eyes of Amy's devotees and constructed from the cult's archival footage, the 3-part docuseries captures the perils of internet proselytizing and a conspiracy-driven faith. So all I could say, I didn't rate this or anything, but all I could say is just drugs are bad, okay? And then also I just said, like, yo, this story is fucking sad, because this I would recommend it if you have Max, like if you want to watch it, or if you wanted to, I guess you could watch any YouTube video about it, really. But at the end of the day, like, it's just a really crazy ass story. It is interesting to see a woman be at like the center of this like cult, which doesn't always happen, which I thought was just kind of interesting. But it was just, it's just sad. And it just goes to show that, like, I don't know, dude, like when you're in the throes of whatever, God, shit. Because the thing is that a lot of these people that you see that were her followers and all that, I mean, just a lot of them were just vulnerable / I think they were just like on drugs, you know, that's what it is. And I don't mean to kind of blanket it, but it's true though. Like, you know, like all of them were either maybe smoking a little too much weed or like taking a little bit too many mushrooms or whatever. I don't know. But like, it almost feels like a farce. It feels like something where you're like, is this even fucking real? But the fact that, like, no, this is real. And just her story in general, I think, is just kind of sad. And then how she died. And then that's the whole thing with, like, how they found her mummified corpse at this place. Like, a whole thing. Go and watch it. You've heard all about it a little bit, probably. But I thought it was really interesting. And it's fucking wild. And I think the way that they do this documentary is actually pretty decent. Again, documentaries can be manipulative and, like, whatever. And it's all about, you know, whatever the fuck. But I will say that I did enjoy myself with it. So, yeah, it was cool. anyway, the next thing I watched after that was a little movie from 2013 called GBF. So this movie, I said, is like still super fun. I love how it's just very unabashedly queer. So this movie is directed by Darren Stein, director of Jawbreaker, and pretty much it's about this guy Tanner and his friend Brent. So Tanner is like closeted, and like they end up. So what ends up happening is he gets outed pretty much, and then these three popular girls at this high school, they take him in as the gay best friend, which is kind of this like new trend, if you will, and whatever. But yeah, so and then it just follows like what Tanner goes through, and like, you know, how he splinters off from his friends, and he like goes with the popular girls, and then all this stuff goes, you know, with that. So I really do like this movie. It's on Tubi every so often. It's also on Peacock, I think. A couple things like that. You might be hearing me cover it in a little bit. So, you know, because it is celebrating. Actually, it's celebrating 10 years. Well, last year, I guess, when you're hearing this. But, like, it's celebrating. It already celebrated its 10-year anniversary. So it's kind of in its 11th year now, because I think it was widely released in 2014, like on VOD and stuff, and then it premiered in 2013. But yeah, I think it is it's a fun movie, and I really think that it's nice that Darren Stein got to be able to make a movie that's so unabashedly queer, and, you know, was written by a queer man as well. So like it's just cool to have him have that, because especially Jawbreaker is a movie that even though queer people love it a lot of the time, it's not an explicitly there's no explicit queer characters in that story, and so even though there is a queer sensibility to it in a way, and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is like, this movie, he gets to kind of deal with it a little better. So, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't mind it. People don't always like this movie. I've seen here and there, but overall, I think it's actually a pretty fine film. And, you know, if anything, like, I put Jawbreaker at the top, obviously, but then I also put GBF up there too, because I'm like, this movie's actually pretty decent. So, you know, there you go. Then the next movie, then I took a couple days, and I just, you know, wasn't watching anything because I didn't feel like it. But I decided to watch a little movie from 1974, because again, 'tis the season, everybody. I decided to pull out my copy of Female Trouble and watch that. So Female Trouble is John Waters' one of his early films. So this is about Dawn Davenport, played by Divine, showing her progression from bratty schoolgirl to crazed mass murderer, all of which stems from her parents' refusal to buy her cha-cha heels for Christmas, because good girls don't wear cha-cha heels. But anyway, so, you know, I watched this with the director commentary on it, because I've watched it before. But yeah, it was fun to hear him, you know, John Waters, like, talk about this movie and everything. I did enjoy that. I gave this 5 stars and a little heart. I really like this movie a lot. I do also tend to like Pink Flamingos as well, but like, I think Female Trouble is probably my second favorite. I will always have a soft spot in my heart for the 1988 version of Hairspray. But in terms of John Waters movies, like, this is probably my second favorite. Just everything about it, like fucking everything from Divine, and then like Edith Massey, and just like, oh my God, everything in this is just like, it's just perfection. Some of my favorite lines in this movie has to be bumping pussies is a violation of jail rules. I love that one. I also love I'm glad I got an abortion. You know, fair. And also I love in the beginning when it's Conchetta, I think it's, or whatever, and she's threatening the girl she's threatening the girl in the classroom, and she just says, I got a knife here in my pocketbook. I'm gonna cut you up after class. I just love it. I love John Waters. So he's on his commentary, and I love how he explains pocketbook, because that is something I will say, as somebody who's from Maryland, from Baltimore in particular, grew up in Baltimore. I've been here forever. But pocketbook is something where I've definitely heard that growing up. Like, definitely like my mom would say it every so often when I was younger. My grandmother used to say it sometimes too. You know, I got my pocketbook, you know, all that. Not like that, but, you know, I'm just throwing it on there. But Yes, pocketbook. Like, it's so funny. Anyway, but yeah, so that's a little bit about that. But yeah, Female Trouble is fucking awesome. I would recommend either if you want to. I would rent it on fucking YouTube or whatever if you want to. I like the Criterion of it, so if you want to get that, that's cool. And then also, if it ever comes on Criterion Channel, it was on there before, I think. I don't actually know that. It might have been. But yeah, girl, it's such a fucking good movie. Anyway, so then the next movie I watched was kind of a twofer, if you will. So I watched two movies back to back. So one is Last Holiday from 1950, because then I watched the movie from 2006, Last Holiday with Queen Latifah, which is a remake of it. But I'm going to get to the 1951 first. So this is Last Holiday. It has Alex Guinness in it. If you don't know who Alex Guinness is, you might know him because he is actually Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Star Wars movies. So this movie, I didn't know who he was, but then I stumbled upon this movie. He's a really talented actor. I thought he did a great job in the lead role of this. This movie is perfectly fine. This twist ending, though, is kind of a sleigh. So what this movie is about, it's a British film about George Bird, played by Mr. Guinness, and he's a salesman of agricultural machinery. He finds out he hasn't got long to live, and on his doctor's advice, he goes to an exclusive seaside resort to spend his savings on one last holiday. And then it's kind of like this comedy of, like, you know, the hotel that he's at and like all these rich people and shit, like all that kind of stuff. And then you have this like ending and everything like that, right? So that is Last Holiday. And then it was remade in 2006 with Queen Latifah. So I gave both of these movies a 3. I gave the remake a little heart because I think this is this movie with Queen Latifah, the remake of it. I thought it was such a heartwarming story, and it really shows that Queen Latifah is a great actress. I thought she's really good, and she makes you care for her character and also makes you want to like follow her journey in a way. I just really liked that, and I thought that, I mean, of course, like Set It Off is a fucking great movie, but like, you know, I just like this movie for what it is. I don't think I would say like, you know, oh my God, it's like 4.5 stars or whatever, but like I do tend to enjoy it. I think it is a perfectly serviceable film for what it is. And if anything, like I will be covering it. You might be hearing it in a couple days, but you know, I just think it is a fun movie. It also has, you know, like Timothy Hutton's in there, Alicia Witt is in there, LL Cool J is in this movie. So like, I did think it was really fun. It was on Paramount Plus, so I decided to watch it and take a look at it. But yeah, I watched a little bit of Last Holiday. It's also it is celebrating, what is it? I mean, how long is 2006? Wait a minute. No, 2018, 19, 20, 21, 23. So it's about 20, God, it's 26 years old. Or no, sorry, it's 16. Wow, I'm not that old. Jesus Christ. No, it's about 16 years old. I think it's about 16. Or no, 18. Oh, shit. Wow, I can't do math. Yeah, it's celebrating about 18 years since its release. Oof, girl. Old as fuck. Anyway, sorry. But, you know, whatever. I just had my whole life, like, flash before my eyes. It's okay. It's fine. Yeah, so that's what I watched. Then the next, like 2 days after that, I decided to watch a little movie on Netflix. Don't know if it's going to be on there anymore, but, I watched, 16 Candles from 1984. So this is a John Hughes movie. It's not his debut, but it's one of his early films. Pretty much a teenage girl deals with her parents forgetting her birthday and a crush on her high school heartthrob. And you know, so I definitely saw this when I was younger. And I will say, so I saw this movie as a younger kid because my sister went through a phase of being obsessed with 80s teen movies, as one does. I think I was probably indifferent on a first watch of this, really. Like I didn't like super love it, but I didn't super hate it, right? So there was that. But now as an older adult, this movie just doesn't really work for me. I really like Molly Ringwald in this movie. I thought she did a great job. But the story's kind of meh. You know, there's some problematic elements that don't really age well on a rewatch. I never thought I would say this, and for anybody who's listened who knows my diatribe against like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, although I have come around on him, you know, where I will watch his movie. I even say I'd probably watch The Breakfast Club or Ferris Bueller's Day Off before I'd rewatch 16 Candles. I just didn't care, even though Queen Joan Cusack is in it. You know, Anthony Michael Hall is like, you know, it's an early role for him, which is crazy. But like, you know, I don't know. I didn't care that much for it. Like I said, the story's mad to me. So there you go. But then also, you know, these people have been able to, obviously Joan Cusack got to do something cool. John Cusack was also in that movie as well. Gete Watanabe, who obviously has had like this kind of thing of Long Duck Dong, like, you know, kind of following him through his career, but he also has been able to kind of do other things. Like, I haven't finished the movie, but he's in Vamp with Robert Russler and Grace Jones. So he gets to be something a little different in there. So I thought that was kind of cool, but yeah, no, didn't love, can't say I loved 16 Candles, but that's just my opinion. Then on the same day, because this is right before the holiday, because it's now on Amazon Prime, I decided to watch a little movie called Saltburn from 2023. So this movie is very beautiful to look at. I will say that. I did appreciate the gay undertones or overtones, whatever you want to say, of this film. I don't think I was blown away by the film, though. I have never seen Promising Young Woman, so, you know, I don't have it to compare to. This movie's fine for what it is, I guess. Like, you know, but Saltburn, if you don't know, it's with Barry Keoghan and Jacob Elordi. Struggling to find his place at Oxford University, Oliver Quick, played by Barry Keoghan, finds himself drawn into the world of the charming and aristocratic Felix Cotton, played by Jacob Elordi, who invites him to Saltburn, his eccentric family's sprawling estate, for a summer never to be forgotten. So yeah, I also loved Carey Mulligan in this movie, playing Pamela. I really liked her. She was great, but yeah, no, it was a weird ass movie. I'm not gonna lie, you know, but overall, I think like it was fine. Like it was perfectly all right. I love me some Barry Keoghan, I must say. Not even just for the final scene of this movie. Okay, all right, get your head out of the gutters, everybody. But you know, I liked him in Killing of a Sacred Deer. Some people do not like that movie. I actually didn't mind it. So hey, Yorgos Lanthimos. I have not seen Poor Things or anything, but who knows? I do have an interest to maybe kind of watch The Favorite, because like I do want to kind of watch Olivia Colman, you know, win her Oscar, but whatever. But back to not Yorgos Lanthimos, but back to Barry Keoghan. I liked him in that movie. So like for this, like I actually didn't mind him. I want to see more of him. I didn't see like the Banshee of Inisherin or whatever. Cause girl, I don't know if I'm going to watch all that, but I want to see more of Barry Keoghan for sure. I didn't mind him. And of course, like, fucking, what's her name, in this movie? Rosamund Pike, that's her. Oh, and Richard E. Grant. As you know, the only thing I know him from is literally fucking the tour manager from Spice World. Although I know he was in Bram Stoker's Dracula, okay, but whatever. He is, what is his name in that movie? Oh my God, Spice World. Doesn't matter at all. Wait a minute, I'm totally gonna look this up now, because it's not even in his top films. That is sad. So sad. Oh my God, it's horrible. Clifford, that's his name. Anyway, but yeah, Saltburn. Woo. Anyway, so then I just got on a bit of a bender with some movies, because I might have already mentioned this before, but you'll be hearing an episode come out soon where I'm going to be covering some sorority horror coming up. So you will see that I watched a bunch of movies that you know, had to do with sororities and horror. So I watched Black Christmas from wow. No, I did not. I watched Black Christmas from 1974 because, again, 'tis the season. I just put in my little Letterboxd review, I just said, hello? because I love when Olivia Hussey just like answers the phone in that movie, like, to be perfectly honest. And like Margot Kidder and fucking Andrea Martin and all this. I mean, if you don't already know, this is about a sorority house is terrorized by a stranger who makes frightening phone calls and then murders the girls during the Christmas break. This is a Bob Clark movie. It's kind of touted as one of the first slasher movies, all this kind of stuff. I like this movie enough. Like, I gave it a 3.5 now. I think I gave it a 5 when I first watched it. And then I was like, okay, calm down, girl. All right. But I do like Black Christmas 20. I do not like, what am I talking about? I do not like Black Christmas 2019. But I like Black Christmas 2000 and I actually do kind of like Black Christmas 2006, although the movie's terrible. But what I was going to say is I like the Black Christmas 1974. I think it is a very interesting movie. It is very atmospheric. Yeah, it's a fun time, I think. It's not too terrible, but I definitely kind of, have my own, I have kind of not realized, but I've kind of set my own kind of expectations of like, I thought of like, oh, it was like a 5 movie, right? Oh my God. And then I'm just like, girl, maybe it's like, it's still good, but it's like not like fucking amazing. You know what I mean? Anyway, so yeah. Don't worry, you'll be hearing all about my fucking Black Christmas times, because I will probably be covering those in my sorority horror episode because they all have to do with sororities. Anyway, so then, after I did that, I watched a little movie from 2012 called Sorority Party Massacre. So this is, So this movie, it just hurt to watch at some point. The movie is very aware of what it is, and that's cool, I guess. But I just didn't find it funny at all, and it's not all that scary. This movie is about, this detective, he aids a small town sheriff in a routine missing persons investigation, only to discover that at least one girl has gone missing in a little fishing town each year for the last 20 years. And so then he comes across these like sorority girls who are at this like rush thing or whatever. And then what ends up happening is that they all get, taken out one by one. Yeah, this is on like fucking, where the hell is it even at? It's like, I think it's on Prime, honestly. And, yeah, I think it's on Prime. And then I think it might have been on Tubi, maybe. I don't remember exactly. But, girl, this movie was just like, sorry, but it just was not good. The one guy in it, like the one like person who I was like, oh, okay, was actually fucking what's his name? Edo Ross. He is like the main he's the sheriff of the sleepy town or whatever. He is Nikolai from 6 Feet Under, which I love 6 Feet Under a lot. So I was like, oh, cool, he's in this, but he deserved better. He really deserved better. And Richard Mole deserves better too. Rest in peace, Richard Mole. We lost him this last year. He is one of the Morgan, whatever his name is. He's from But I'm a Cheerleader and also a few other movies. But yeah, he passed away in 2023. But he's in this movie for like 5 minutes, which is fine. Yeah, no, I didn't care for this movie a ton. That's just me personally. But whatever. I watched it for my art. Okay. Anyway, so then this is how I brought in my Christmas, everybody. Then I watched a little movie from 1982, I think on Christmas Eve, actually. It was called One Dark Night from not from 2000s, from 1982. This is the feature directorial debut of Mr. Tom McLaughlin. And if you don't know who Tom McLaughlin is, he is the guy who directed I almost said Jason, but Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. He also did some Lifetime movies like She's Too Young and also Odd Girl Out. But this is his first movie he ever did. So what this movie is about, it's about this man named Carl Ramrevich or something. He dies shortly after discovering a way to become even more powerful in death through telekinesis. On the night of his burial in a crypt, Julie is to spend the night there as part of an initiation rite supervised by two other girls. And the crypt becomes a scene of horror as Raymar returns to life and deploys his horrifying telekinetic powers. So this movie is kind of a banger. I gave it a 3.5 and a little heart. Bitch, I'd probably own this movie, actually. It was kind of fun. It's early 80s. This is a early role for both Meg Tilly, Jennifer Tilly's sister, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But, and then E.G. Daily, like I said, so she was in Better Off Dead, but she's also in this movie. This is right before she was in Valley Girl as well. So, yeah, sign me up for that. And also, young Adam West could get it. I thought he was very attractive in this movie. He's in this film. I will say, and a couple people on Letterboxd have said this, I could use this movie getting a remake, because it'd be interesting to see what they could do with it now. What's crazy too, you'll hear about this on the episode probably because I'm going to talk about it, but like, this movie, I just think like it's interesting because it's a PG movie. So I thought that was really interesting. And I will also mention it more, but Meg Tilly has a YouTube channel, and bitch, you got to get on the Meg Tilly YouTube channel, honey. It's so relaxing, and she like drinks tea and stuff. Bitch, I am obsessed. Anyway, so I'll talk more about that probably. But, yeah, I really liked it personally. I really liked One Dark Night, and I think it's on. You can find it on the YouTubes for free, so you can do that too. I think it's on Tubi though, so you can watch that if you want. But yeah, then in a part of that, I watched like 3 movies on Christmas Eve. Like I did a lot, but then I watched Sorority House Massacre 2 from 1990. Because if you remember, I watched Sorority House Massacre either last month or the month before or whatever. I don't remember. But this is the sequel to that. It's by Jim Wynorski. If you don't know him, he is mostly known for doing Chopping Mall, but he also did a lot of like schlocky ass movies. So this is about 5 college women who buy the whole Hochstetter place for their new sorority house. They get it cheap because of the bloody incidents that happened 5 years before. They decide to stay in it for the night so that they can meet the movers in the morning, but get the creeps from Orville Ketchum, who starts poking around and all of this. So this movie, I will say, I gave it a 1.5 star. And listen, we'll probably talk about all 3 of the Sorority House Massacre movies because, don't worry, I'm probably not going to watch it maybe in this year, but like Hard to Die, which is Sorority House Massacre 3, that movie, I'm going to watch it. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. I think I would watch Sorority House Massacre again over this movie. This movie was just it was not good. But whatever. It's fine. No, it's not fine, actually, but, whatever. They made a movie, I guess. Good for them. But I did not love Sorority House Massacre 2, personally. And you'll hear more about why, probably. Then I decided to watch, just to bring the holiday in, because I was just watching a bunch of sorority horror at this point. I decided to watch Nightmare Sisters from 1988. This is a Dave Dakota movie. So he's the guy who did Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bolorama. And he's also just done like a bunch of Lifetime movies with Vivica A. Fox and like all sorts of shit, right? So this is early in his, time frame. I think this might even predate Sorority Babes, but this is Linnea Quigley, Michelle Bauer, and Brinke Stevens in this film. Melody, Marcy, and Mickey are 3 geeky college girls who can't get a date, and one night they invite some geeky college boys over and have a seance that result in the girls becoming possessed and turning into sex-starved vamps. Will the geek hero guys be able to stop the horrible possession? I kind of liked this movie. I said it's super fun. These women can really do no wrong, truly. I think it's a way better film than Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bolorama. I didn't love that movie, but like this movie like definitely rips more. It's definitely a little bit racially insensitive in the beginning, but it was the late 80s, bro. So you know what? I'm not going to pretend like it wasn't that way. Yeah, a little weird. But overall, I did like that film. Yeah, I thought Nightmare Sisters was pretty fucking good. Yeah, so that's what I watched with that. And then I still watched I'm still going to be watching more sorority horror. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be recording that episode in probably a few days, but yeah. But to bring in also more Christmas, because for Christmas I did get a Blu-ray player, specifically to play like Ultra 4Ks and stuff like that too, like Ultra HD stuff. So because I do now, I also got it before the holiday. I bought it for myself during the Vinegar Syndrome sale, but I decided to break out my copy of Freeway that I recently just got, and I watched Freeway from 1996. This is a rewatch for me. So this is my 4K Ultra HD copy of it. If you don't know about Freeway, so Freeway is about Little Red Riding Hood. It's Vanessa Lutz, played by Reese Witherspoon. She comes across Bob Wolverton, played by Kiefer Sutherland. Some shit goes down, and then, you know, it's just like a fucked up version of like Little Red Riding Hood, pretty much. I thought this 4K looked really good. I thought it looked awesome. And then also some of the behind the scenes stuff, like some of the things that they had on there, like in terms of special features and stuff, was really good too. I thought that was pretty decent. But yeah, I liked it, and it was fun. I did do an episode on this earlier in July, I think, of 2023. So you could definitely go check that out if you want. But yeah, I love this movie. I gave it like a 4-star. I'm glad I own it now, because I can watch whatever the hell I want. So it's pretty decent. I also found out, funny enough, that I didn't realize this, but if you've seen the movie, there's these two twins that are in the movie who play prisoners in this jail that Vanessa goes to. And one of them is actually played by a woman by the name of Leanna Creel, because she's triplets. So her and her sister are in this movie, but they also have another sister who's also like a twin of theirs, pretty much. They're all triplets. Anyway, but Leanna Creel, if you don't know, she is actually one of the producers of But I'm a Cheerleader, because she and Jamie Babbitt are lesbian friends, I guess. And I thought that was really cool because she is an out lesbian. But I thought that was kind of fun and interesting. And they're actually, her and her sister, Leanna and Monica Creel, which I think she has a different name now, but they're actually on the Blu-ray, which is interesting. Yeah, so why the hell not? Not like you were gonna get like a I'll get to it in a minute, but not that you were gonna get like Reese Witherspoon on like the Vinegar Syndrome shit, but you know, whatever. Speaking of Reese Witherspoon, though, because the next day I decided to pull out my copy of the Criterion collection that I have. I decided to watch Election from 1999, which is Alexander Payne's second movie ever. I said that Chris Klein really just deserves a award nomination for this campaign speech he does. This is Alexander Payne's second movie after Citizen Ruth. Pretty much it's about a high school teacher's personal life becomes complicated as he works with students during the school elections. This is an early role for Reese Witherspoon, also Chris Klein as well, Nicholas Augusto. It's Matthew Broderick plays Mr. McAllister. Yeah, it's just all sorts of shit, and I give this a 5. I really like this movie. Not everyone does, but, you know, I really like this film, and I'm glad I own it on Criterion. That's where Reese Witherspoon is on that one as well, and she talks about Tracy Flick and all this stuff. I will be doing an episode on this in the new year, or in this year, because it is 25 years old now. Again, I feel like I'm, you know, turning into dust when I say that, but, you know, I do want to do an episode on that, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, I really like this movie. I think it looks great on 4K, so I was down for it. And then I have just a few more. So then I had on the 26th of December, I decided to watch, in addition to Election, I decided to, near the end of my night, I think, I decided to watch a little film called Go from 1999 as well. So this movie is a Doug Lineman movie. This is about, so it's a a group of people, but it's about Simon, who occasionally sells drugs from his work, his register at work. There's a bunch of shit. So it pretty much focuses on Simon, played by this British guy. These two guys, Adam and Zach, who are like these, what are they? They're like soap opera actors. And then also Rana, who also works at the grocery store. But pretty much it's just the hijinks that they get into right around Christmas time in Los Angeles. And it's all over the fucking place, dude. But I liked it. I gave it like a 3.5 or so. And I think I gave it a heart as well. It's a really interesting film. Like, it gets compared to Pulp Fiction quite a bit, and I see what the vision is. This also gives me, funny enough, I didn't put it in a review or anything, but like, this definitely gives me like a little bit of like a Greg Araki movie, like a little bit, kind of, sort of, which is funny because James Duval is in this movie, who he's been in a bunch of Greg Araki movies, but I did like Go. I would probably maybe own this movie. Like, I thought it was pretty cool. Sarah Polley, who has since either been nominated or she may have won an Oscar now. She's a Canadian actress. She's the lead of this movie. But like Katie Holmes is in this movie. All sorts of people. So I thought it was pretty decent, and it was on Pluto TV, so I decided to watch it. Then a couple days went by. I wasn't really watching anything because I was tired. But then I just finished up on my day of recording this. I decided to watch a movie from 1989 called Rush Week. This is a movie about Tony, who is a transfer student to this college in journalism. She finds out that several co-eds are starting to disappear under suspicious circumstances. She decides to investigate this for herself, and she gets embroiled in a bunch of shit, and she gets exposed to the fraternities and all that. Like, it's very interesting. It's for 1989, this movie feels like it could have been made in 1989 as well. I actually heard of it from Haunted Hippie on YouTube. And she liked this movie. She got it from a subscriber, I think. And it is on currently on YouTube. I don't really know where else you can find it, to be honest, but you can find it on YouTube pretty easily. And it's actually a pretty decent transfer. Like, it's pretty good. Yeah, I think this movie is actually pretty decent. Like, it's definitely a movie where there's a little bit of self-awareness in it, kind of, sort of, but like, I think overall it is an interesting story. And I don't know, like, the Dickies are there from, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Like, who doesn't love that? But yeah, I did like it, and I will be talking about that more with probably sorority horror, because even though it's fraternity stuff, I still kind of put it in there, to be honest, but whatever, it's fine. And then the last movie that I watched of the month was this film from actually this year, which is currently on Netflix. But I watched No Hard Feelings from 2023, starring Jennifer Lawrence. So this movie, if you don't know, Maddie, played by Jennifer Lawrence, she's on the brink of losing her childhood home. She gets a job listing. She finds a job listing for these wealthy parents who want to pretty much like socialize and date their introverted 19-year-old son before he leaves for college. And so she then discovers that the awkward Percy is no sure thing in terms of having sex with him. For me, with this movie, so I gave this a 3 and a heart. I think I gave it a 3.5 at first. I think I settled on a 3. I think this movie, for the most part, like, I think it is a fun, kind of return to form for Jennifer Lawrence. I have not seen all of her movies or anything, but I do like her as an actress enough. And in this movie, she just goes balls to the wall, which I think is really appreciated. And if anything, I think this movie at least has something different it's trying to say, and there are some funny parts throughout it. I don't think it's as poignant as maybe other people may think, or I don't know if it's thought that it was trying to be that, but I do think that it is a fun film. It's kind of going back to that sort of raunchy sex comedy, if anything, but I think it's not your typical sex comedy. So don't go into it thinking it's going to be that, because it really kind of isn't, honestly. And that's what makes it interesting. I think that's what it kind of is like, I remember when I watched, it was either Barbie, or it might have been Barbie, or it was Don't Worry Darling or something like that. Or it might have been Scream 6, actually. Whatever. I saw a movie earlier this year. So those are the ones I watched in the theater. But I saw this preview for this movie. And I kind of thought, I was like, well, what the hell are they doing with this? Like, what is this? And I was like, oh, okay. But now that I've seen it, actually, I do think it's trying to say something a little different or a little deeper than just being a sex comedy, which I can appreciate. I just don't think it like hits the poignancy, though. But overall, I do think it's a fun movie. I want to see Jennifer Lawrence in more films. Also, Andrew Barth Feldman. I think he's really a great actor, too. He plays Percy. It says Matthew Broderick in it as well. Yeah, no, it's a fun time, and it's got something to say, and and I really do appreciate that. And that's on Netflix. I hope people go out and watch it. This Ends at Prom actually just did an episode on it, which also spurred me to watch it as well. But yeah, so that's pretty much the end of that. And that's all of what I watched in the month of December. We've come to the end of this year, and we're in the new year now. So, I'll have all sorts of stuff coming up. You will notice probably I'm doing a lot of anniversaries, probably this year in terms of movies. So you'll definitely hear some, and you'll probably get this from other podcasts too, obviously. Going to have quite a few 1999 movies because it is 25 years. Okay. So you'll definitely, I already told you, Election is on the pipeline, of course. But I have some other ones too. So like, some 1999 movies are thrown into there. I got like a 1989 movie somewhere in here. I even have a 1979 one, so be on the lookout for that. Like a couple things like that. I'm trying to do more anniversaries and trying to do that kind of stuff. So, that's what you can look forward to in the new year if you're listening to this and whatever. But yeah, again, I hope all of you had a good, beginning to your year. Even if you didn't, I'm sorry to hear that. But, if anything, if you had a good year or if you had a good beginning of the year, hopefully we can continue that into this new year and all that good stuff. But, again, I'm going to do my little plugs now. So if you want to follow the show on social media, you can do so at Instagram. I'm at cultcinemacircle. X or Twitter is cultcinemacircle. Also follow me on Letterboxd at Jesse, Jesse, Kremp, Kremp, where you can look at all my movies I've watched. All that good stuff. Rate 5 stars on the show, write a 1 to 2 sentence review telling us about if I'm good at what I do, or if you like my show, or if you hate my show. I don't know. Maybe don't say if you hate my show, just email me about that. But but with all that being said, though, I hope you have enjoyed listening to me for the last year as well. Continue doing this, and thank you so much for your support. And hope you have a great rest of your January. And I'll look forward to talking to you in the new year. So thanks all so much, and take care. Bye.